Imagine you're hiking in the Swiss Alps. Beautiful mountains, fresh air, cows with bells. Everything looks like a perfect postcard. But there's something under your feet you don't know about. Right inside that mountain, there's a giant secret room. And it's full of coffee, sugar, rice, gold, and enough food to feed an entire country for 6 months. This isn't a movie. This isn't a conspiracy theory. This is actual Swiss law. Today, I'm going to tell you why Switzerland, one of the richest countries in the world, is secretly preparing for the end of the world, and why this might be one of the smartest decisions any country has ever made. Let's start from the beginning. Switzerland is tiny. It's landlocked. It has no oil, no ocean, and no huge farmland. If something goes wrong in the world, a war, a crisis, or a supply chain collapse, Switzerland can't just call a ship and import food. They have to rely on their neighbors, and history taught them a very painful lesson about that. During the 2 world wars, Switzerland stayed neutral. They didn't fight, they didn't take sides. But neutrality didn't fill stomachs. Imports stopped. Food became scarce. People rationed bread, sugar, and coffee. Children went hungry. Families went to bed with empty plates. After all that pain, the Swiss government looked around and said one thing: never again. So, in 1955, Switzerland passed a strange and beautiful law, a paranoid law. A law no other country in the world has copied at this scale. The law said this: every important company in Switzerland must keep an emergency stockpile. Every coffee importer, every sugar trader, every rice seller, every fuel company must keep emergency reserves. A massive one, enough to feed the entire country for 3 to 6 months, sometimes even longer. And the government pays them to do it. It's called compulsory stockpiling, mandatory reserves. If you sell coffee in Switzerland, by law, you must store tons of it in a secret warehouse. Same for sugar, same for rice, same for cooking oil, same for animal feed, same for medicine, same for fuel. The country basically said, we will never be hungry again. We will never depend on anyone again, no matter what happens in the world. Now, where do they keep all of this? Inside mountains. Literally inside mountains. Switzerland is famous for its beautiful Alps, right? Well, those mountains are not just for skiing and postcards. They are hollow. The Swiss have been drilling tunnels into them for almost 100 years. Some of these tunnels are old military bunkers from the Cold War. Some are nuclear shelters. And some are food warehouses the size of football stadiums. You can drive past a normal-looking farmhouse in the Swiss countryside. It looks like nothing special. But behind that farmhouse, there's a steel door. Behind that door, there's a tunnel. And behind that tunnel, there are 2,000 tons of sugar, or coffee, or rice, just sitting there, waiting. And here's the wildest part. By Swiss law, every single home in Switzerland must have access to a nuclear bunker. Every single home. If your house doesn't have one, you have to share one with your neighbors. There are over 360,000 bunkers in Switzerland, enough space for every single citizen, plus extras for tourists and refugees. But food isn't the only thing they store. Switzerland holds one of the largest gold reserves in the world, over 1,000 tons of gold, most of it kept inside the Swiss National Bank, deep underground, in places nobody is allowed to photograph. Not even journalists, not even politicians from other countries. Why so much gold? Because gold is the one thing that holds value when everything else collapses. If currencies crash, if banks fail, if trust disappears, gold still buys bread. Switzerland learned this from watching other countries lose everything. Germany in the 1920s, when people burned cash to stay warm because it was worth less than firewood. Argentina, which has lost its currency many times. Venezuela more recently. When paper money dies, gold survives. So Switzerland sits on a giant pile of it. Quietly, patiently, just in case. Now, you might be thinking, okay, this sounds smart, but isn't it incredibly expensive? Yes, it costs a fortune. Storing thousands of tons of coffee, sugar, rice, and fuel costs hundreds of millions of Swiss francs every single year. The food doesn't go bad, because it rotates. Old stock gets sold to supermarkets, and fresh stock comes in. But the system itself, the warehouses, the workers, the security, the bunkers, is huge. The Swiss pay for it through their taxes and through slightly higher prices on certain goods. A bag of sugar in Switzerland costs a little more than in France or Germany. That extra money? It goes into the reserve. Most Swiss people don't even think about it. They just pay it. Because deep down, they know if a crisis hits, they will still eat. Their children will still eat. Their country will still function. It's like buying insurance for the end of the world. And the Swiss are the only ones who actually paid the premium. So the big question, does this system actually work? Let's look at the real world. In 2020, when COVID hit, supermarkets around the world went empty. Toilet paper disappeared, flour disappeared, pasta disappeared. People were fighting in the aisles. In Switzerland, some shortages, yes, but no panic, no real hunger. Because behind every supermarket shelf, there was a mountain full of backup. In 2022, when Russia invaded Ukraine, Europe panicked about gas, wheat, and cooking oil. Prices exploded. Some countries struggled to import enough food. Some had to ration energy. Switzerland? Calm. The reserves were there. The plan was there. The country kept running. Every time the world has a crisis, the Swiss system quietly proves itself. It's not flashy. It's not exciting. Nobody talks about it on the news. But it works. Now, here's the part that really matters. Most countries in the world don't do this. Most countries assume that food, fuel, and supplies will always be available. They rely on global trade, on open borders, on peace between nations. And most of the time, that works fine. But most of the time isn't always. The Swiss understand something that other countries forget. The world is fragile. Supply chains break. Wars happen. Pandemics happen. Climate disasters happen. And when they do, the country that prepared in advance survives. And the country that did not prepare suffers. This is the difference between thinking like a year and thinking like a century. Switzerland thinks like a century. They are not preparing for tomorrow. They are not preparing for next year. They are preparing for a crisis that might not even happen in our lifetimes. But if it does, they're ready. And honestly, there's something each of us can learn from this. You don't need to build a bunker. You don't need to buy gold bars. But the Swiss philosophy is simple. Hope for the best. Prepare for the worst. Keep a little savings. Keep some food in the house. Don't depend on the system being perfect, because sometimes it isn't. The Swiss did not get rich by being lucky. They got rich by being careful, by thinking long-term, by imagining the worst possible scenario and being ready for it. Maybe that's the real Swiss secret. Not the chocolate, not the watches, not the famous banks. The bunkers. So next time you see a picture of Switzerland, those green hills, those calm villages, those snowy peaks, remember, under all of it, there's a country quietly storing coffee, sugar, and gold, just in case the world falls apart. And maybe, just maybe, they're the smartest ones of all. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.